Depends I feel like talking tonight. I don't know. We'll do it like this. This way I can see some comments. So we started already. If you was here yesterday, welcome back. Hope y'all feeling inspired. Feeling good. Um, yeah, the whole night. You know what I'm saying? Fuck what everybody else got to say about it. Nothing they can do about it. That's the thing about self-love. Nobody has any say-so if you don't want them to. Even if they are on some bullshit. I'm telling you. And if they go by where motherfuckers be trying to take shots just because I'm fucking happy. Or just doing my thing. Or, you know what I mean? It could be so many different reasons. But let's not focus on Les Miserables and the likes. And we're gonna get into it. I don't know, I've been sitting on this all night, figuring out what I'm gonna do next, and that is fun in itself, because I don't fucking know. I just wanna see what happens. Real time. Real time. Instead of sitting there thinking about the shit, you feel me? So it's the retrograde edition. All the emotional lessons is over. Now it's in Aries and niggas finna get they, you know what I'm saying, one way or the other. Alright, enough talk. 2 minutes in. Let's do an hour. Cause, yeah, good. That'll give me enough time to go get my bag of chips. Alright, where were we? Right about there. And really, I just want to get paint into these cracks. My God. See all these stripes and stuff. That's how deep ingrained the wood is. You know what I'm saying? You really got to wet your brush in the beginning and push it in. That's why these brushes never last with this wood, but it'd be dope when it come out. I mean, and then we would start adding some particulars. So welcome on in. Welcome to the bots and the whatever be showing up. And boy, extra shout out to all the authentic, genuine people who be coming through. This is who I'm here for, really. I just like having fun with the others. It don't make no sense to be that fucking miserable and you ain't doing shit about no fun with other people. That's the lamest shit I never heard in my life. So I figured out how the motif is going to be. Now how it shows up is what I'm going to really be navigating here. And I already know this is going to stretch into another board, so I just got the board out. Fuck it. That way, I don't have to worry about just imagining what's on the other side. You feel me? You just saw me. What's going on? What you did? First time I caught you on the live one here. What's going on? Shout out to the land of Egypt is in the house. Unless you're talking about you caught a video or something. But welcome on in. At least I know somebody in the building is real. This should be off the chain, dog. It be off the chain sometimes. We need green too. We need some green. Let's get a new green. I thought I had some mint green around here. I do. Oh, it's just another day in the realm, in my realm anyway. It's like the whole that whole verse out the Bible is active right now, where it says you wouldn't know the seasons apart. Like in the last 5 days of Nola, we've had all 4 seasons. Like yesterday was beautiful. It was like a summer day. Before that, it was a little bit fall. You know what I'm saying? Then we had some rain. Then we had today. It was like wind. It felt like autumn. You know, like late autumn. I think it's just really interesting. That's all. I am listening to the natural rhythms going on rather than all this other shit. If I hear another thing about these goddamn Epstein files, I don't know what I'm gonna do. Well, I'm gonna find another channel. That's what I'm gonna do, really. But today we are honoring the retrograde by revisiting one of my childhood favorites besides the Transformers, which was the Ninja Turtles. And the Ninja Turtles was when I did my first comic book, I did it kind of like this, there was a 3-part series called Return to New York. If you're a comic book head and you know the Ninja Turtles, you know what I'm talking about. But it was awesome. The artwork was awesome. The story was awesome. And I kind of modeled it after that. And that was my first comic that I ever created. Or illustrated. I didn't put the words to it. It's just a whole bunch of action and shit. You know what I mean? And that's when I realized I needed to practice on my goddamn figures. You know, muscles and poses and all that shit. So that's, what, 8th grade, 9th grade, some shit? But I wanted to revisit them. I said I was going to do it after I did the Transformers thing, but life is what it is, you know what I'm saying? Well, what I'm painting there, who is that? Phyllis. Well, Phyllis. This is my second ode to the childhood classics. Third one, I'm not quite sure. I got 2 or 3 of them that I'm gonna kind of feel out. But I'm gonna revisit this concept I did for the Thundercats back in the day as well. But I wanted to do the Turtles this time around. And see what it looked like this time. You know what I mean? But the hour is dedicated to you, whoever, blah, blah, blah. Taking an hour a day to dive into the shit that you love doing. So if it's while you're watching this live or you catch the video later, that's the purpose. It's also art therapy, if you will. no sketch of this anywhere except in my mind, so we're really going to be experimenting. Show these halfway what it really look like. Oh, y'all floating on it now, huh? Jeez, it was so the Ramesses too uncommon for me. You said you found some new comedians, huh? That's always a good thing. I have an ongoing spiritual study of comedians. Still in process. It's a very interesting subject when you talk about the court jester. Tell myself what's up. Oh yeah, when these first came out, couldn't tell me nothing. Couldn't tell me nothing. Matter of fact, I'm an old school fan. This is before they even reached the cartoons and all that. This is issue. This is book 18. This is February 1989. This is a first print right there, and you can see how far they've come. This is the original cover for it, and they had a whole bunch of different artists work on it. You know, like that black and white. That's why I love my black and whites. Because they did most of them like that. They weren't color, but you know what I mean? Back then, folks was killing. Like, look at that. That shit is hot. You know what I'm saying? Folks was killing it. in their own style. You know, that's really what inspired me to go ahead and do my own thing, was looking at everybody else and how they were doing it and putting their own twist on it. But this is old. This is really old. And this is the 18th book, so you got to figure 85, 86 when they really started, because they're doing about a comic every month, kind of thing. Maybe a little bit, whatever. But that's how they look. This is how they looked. And I really loved the concept they did for the movie. I thought those were pretty cool. But just like Transformers, who knew it had so much high science in it? Just the turtle itself is a spiritual tool, a very powerful one. A little black in there. Let me zoom y'all in a little bit. We gonna need two today, huh? Yeah, yesterday was the most perfect day in the world. And today, man, that wind is out there howling. And we're gonna have to get the other piece out soon. We're doing that there. After tonight's session, though. It's not a big deal. We just want to line everything up. Still trying to figure out who this is. I feel like Leo. It probably shouldn't be because it's in the middle unless I downward here. Yeah, why not? Here we go. Alright, switch up and get some new colors. Well, it is. For me, anyway. I make it look easy to get out your own damn way. Because everybody's attached to an outcome. this way because we're going for that board over there that we just put on there. We just want to line it up. Let me change this lighting too. We get some white paint too. I remember to get that too when I'm out. Yeah, I feel your eyes are art. It's funny, back in the day, they didn't have that's the other thing. They all had the same color headbands back in the day. The only way you could tell the difference between them was the weapons. I don't know, I might keep that theme. I might, but I might not. I kind of want to do a little something elemental. I'll just put it like that. A little elemental. Okay, I can see that. Right there. Just get a little bit of this green. Just a little bit of this green. Yeah, I didn't read it. I saw most of it. You know how they do it online. Folks went through the comments. I thought that was pretty good. Like something like that would be great for a movie or animated joint, especially like an animated joint, because it was just like pure raw emotion in that. I like that a lot. And the artwork was pretty good too. Sometimes it was just a good story or a great artist or something like that. Like the old Rick Vetch joints were insane. His take on the Turtles, him and Michael Zulli. If you look up his he did a three-part series. He illustrated three of the ones when they were Dark Horse. Man, that motherfucker's pen was sick, and the story was out of this world. Like they actually had Shredder in a samurai joint, like a traditional, and not like the comic with all the spikes and shit. Mm. It was absolutely one of the best arcade games ever. The best arcade games. The rock soldiers from Dimension X, the neutrinos, like, come on, man. It got a little ridiculous after that mutagen started spreading. It was like after that second or third movie, even with the toy line and everything, it kind of got corny. It got really commercial. You know what I mean? But like these motherfuckers in the comics were straight killers, y'all. They were straight killers. Let's see what they got in this one. They were snapping necks and putting motherfuckers in chokeholds and all kinds of shit. Nah, this is kind of like. This one's kind of like. But like the Back to New York series was awesome. That's still That's still probably my favorite 3-part series. Yeah, Back to New York. It was That's what the movie was based off of, that first one, after they lost Splinter. And they went into the barn. Like pieces of that kind of made it. It's like they did with the Justice League. You know what I'm saying? What person's name? For what? Two of them for the Turtles that were great artists was Michael Zulli. He worked on another. He was because all this was independent comics. This was under Dark Horse Comics. Um, they're the ones that did the Aliens and no, and they did the Aliens and Predator. This was who was this? This wasn't Dark Horse. This was Dark Horse is one of my favorites. The Independents. Let me see if we got it in here. Like they did a tribute to Bruce Lee and shit. Like that's kind of hot. You know what I mean? Motherfuckers crazy. Let me see. Let me see. Let me see. Let me see. And the shit that they did with the future. Matter of fact, there's the Return to New York series right there. Artwork off of that shit was ridiculous. I don't know if y'all can see that. But that's when they were doing the cloning and shit. And they tried to make Shredder again after they killed him. And they had these three bad batches that still were killers. It was dope. That's Eric Temple. I can't remember. I wanted to say Dark Horse, but maybe it isn't. Here we go. Let me see. Mirage Studios. I'm sorry, it's Mirage Studios. But Michael Zulli, he also did Puma Blues. He illustrated Puma Blues. And Rick Vetch did another series. It was the one where Raphael lost his power. This leech caught on to Raphael and started sucking mutagen out of his blood and became this big monster and shit. And in the process, Raphael turns back into a turtle. So they gotta kill this big ass monster to bring him back. That's why I said that old shit had a lot of raw emotion to it. That was a really good one as well. Because they're sitting here watching their brother revert back into a turtle who can't even speak. You know what I mean? And then they got to fight this monster that could potentially do the same to them. Yeah. Mike Zulli is the name Vetch. Let me see. How do you spell that? V-E-I-T. Some shit. But he had 3 issues. You could tell because he did a famous one. The cover that he did was famous. It was 4 turtles, one above each other, here, 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 and here. That was like on T-shirts and everything, like the posters. It's fucking beautiful work. Yeah, man, I was a Ninja Turtles nerd back in the day. Any and everything I could find. Once I found out that they had the comic books, and this is around the time when I saw when they first came out with the 5-part cartoon series. Man, I had a whole bunch of these. A friend of mine, I gave them to him to keep in his big ass garage collection while I was moving, and I never got back with him. But I had the Return to New York series in there, and the Michael Zulli code. Oh my God. I didn't eat lunch. You know what I'm saying? Lunch money went straight to the comic book store. Kind of shit. If I had $2, I wasn't eating lunch. You know what I'm saying? I might get a cookie or some shit or whatever, but I went straight over to because the comic store was right across the street from the school. Yeah, I'd be in there buying all that shit up, man. The stories were awesome. Alright, let me get back to what I just kind of saw in my head. Ooh, I need that. Why did I do that? There's only a little bit left, but I want it. I want it. Yeah. I'm gonna do a little research tonight too, because I want to get actual different species of turtles in here and see which ones fit the personalities. You know, that snapping turtle, we already know who that gonna be. You know, painter's turtle or something like that. Yeah, Michael Zuli, that's it right there. You found him? He was what I consider the master of that pen. He might have did some pencil sketching, but his inks were just phenomenal for that time. He was really ahead of his time. And the way he conceptualized the turtles just blew my mind. The only thing that was wrong with the story is that, I won't say wrong with it, but the characters themselves, the turtles really didn't have, like, I don't want to say depth. It was a very kind of haiku-ish story, you know what I mean? And you got to see more of Splinter and Shredder go at it rather than the turtles. The turtles seemed a little bit still kind of primitive, like they weren't the teenagers that we knew, you know what I'm saying? But they were definitely warriors. And that's the one where Mikey gets his hand cut off. The fight scene in the field was crazy. He did it in like all white, so it was a snowy background and shit. But heads was flying, arms, legs, everything. Alright, we're already into our next turtle here. I don't know how we're going to situate him, but I can see him already forming. Feels like Ralph. So let's get a little red in there. I do want to kind of pay homage to those different headbands in a way, the color schemes, but especially the red because that was the original. Yeah, and that one introduced the magical side of ninjutsu too. That's what was really great about it. They had like the crow was in there, And it was like a skeleton, and it was like sent out after the turtles to create doubt. You know, it was like really wild. They had little charms and shit like that. Like it really touched into the real ninjutsu. Like we didn't get that with everything else. We just got the martial art part of it, you know, the kicking and fighting. But the supernatural part was definitely a big add-on for that comic right there, the Michael Zuli joint. Yeah, Ralph's always been my boy. Well, I like them all, but I like Ralph and Leo. I always loved their relationship. It was that was the part of martial arts, man. I couldn't wait to become black belt because you didn't get weapons training, but I feel like I got my pair, my pair of Ralphs right there as well. I'm gonna keep these out for some reference. But yeah, I did all 4 of them in martial arts. And it's funny, when you do that, you really get a feel for their personalities based on their weapons of choice. And besides just, the kicking and punching and all that other fly shit, there was a big emphasis on the history that we had to learn. It's funny that Sai comes from Okinawa. It's a little island underneath of Japan. And these are farm tools. These were farm tools before they were weapons. They were used to plant seeds in the ground because of the edge right here. It's not sharpened, you know what I'm saying? And you would just poke these in the ground to plant your seeds, but the hooks were made for mule's feet. If these were the toes on how do you do it like that? If these were the toes of the mule, you put these on there and you would lock them into place so they wouldn't run off on your ass. That's 2 of the main uses, but when they started using these because the government took all their swords away, so they had nothing but farm tools. That's how you get the nunchucks, the staff work, and the sai, was because they didn't have no swords. And what they would do is, and you can see how mine are discolored, they're like that on purpose. You never cleaned the edge of this. You never cleaned the edge of it. You kept all the dirt on there because when you poke somebody, you get all that dirt in the wound and it causes an infection. and because it's round, you can't sew it together like you could a sword. A sword leaves a straight line as far as a cut, but the side leave holes. You know what I mean? You can't stitch that together. So it was really interesting the philosophy that went into these yeah, before the machine took over. Absolutely. And then the blunt end, of course. You get these sharpened, whatever, whatever, but yeah, you don't want to get hit by that either. You don't want to get hit by none of these, but they used to carry these around because these are for disarming people with swords. You know what I mean? You catch them here, and then you trap them either way. And then the other one was used to break the sword because the swords are just thin metal. So you would trap it, and you would break the sword. And that's how they used to deal with like the common samurai after the feudal age kind of died out. You know what I mean? That's what the police were carrying around. Sometimes you'll see them with just the one hook on there. It'd just be a straight pole with the one hook. But when they started out, it was catching your sword and breaking your shit like that, then taking you to jail. You know what I mean? If at all, I don't know. It's a little different, but that's a little history into the weapons. The nunchucks were used to beat the rice. You could also beat rugs and shit like that. You know, you clean house with those nunchucks, but they were used to beat the rice and break it up before they started busting heads with them. But that's how the artists evolved. It was always through adversity. The adversity they faced. So how about that? You come through, you get some artwork, you get a history lesson. And all kinds of shit. I ain't even doing cars today. He did them yesterday while I was painting. And we're just gonna let this take the shape it needs to take by itself. I'll figure out the other shit later. So definitely, like, one of the things you didn't want to get killed for with parasai or a wooden sword, what they call boken. You'd rather get killed by a sword, a regular sword. The other two are going to be painful and agonizing deaths. And the greatest samurai, who's considered the greatest samurai, that's all he used was the wooden bokens for his matches. He used to off cats with that thing. And they would die like 3, 4 days later after the duel because of their injuries. That's what I did in one commission. I changed his side to butterfly swords. I kind of took it to China, and I gave Mikey a chain with, I think I did a guando for Donatello. But what did I do with you, Leo? I'm trying to think what I did with you. I don't know. I have to find that picture. Maybe I can translate some of that. just about a minute left because I do about an hour each session, and we almost at that top of the hour. But this is part two. I think it's fun just to bring everybody along the journey. Then you can go back and watch it. Plus conversations like this. So I appreciate y'all coming through. We get to chat, chop it up, learn something about each other, whatever. But that's the essence of the channel. This is gonna be bananas. I already got to tell y'all that right now. It's gonna push me to my limit too, because I see what they want. All right, let's get a little. We'll end up with a little highlight in the day, and then we'll call it. We'll call it an evening. Well, I done poured all this red. I don't want to waste it. We're gonna go over a little bit, just a little bit. That's just about it. There we go. All right, good people. Y'all take it easy. I'll be back sooner than later, of course, but well, let's just see what we got. I don't know if y'all saw all that happening up there, but that until the next time, just be